l'amélioration des conditions de vie des populations. Du 18 au 24 juillet 2021 à Yaoundé, la 10e édition du Salon de l'action gouvernementale sera axée sur les enjeux de la stratégie nationale de développement 2020-2030 dans tous les secteurs. Au programme du SEGO 2021, expositions, conférences publiques et de nombreuses rencontres. Pour plus d'informations, contactez le cabinet événementiel Mon Communicateur au 677 88 63 22 ou sur www.sego.cm. Salon de l'action gouvernementale, la vitrine du Cameroun.
The National School of Local Administration of Boya launches a call for in-service training application for professionals working in the field of decentralization and local development. Become an expert within 6 months. Latest date for submission of application files, the 17th of March 2021. Training start date, 28th of April. Futuristic campuses and e-learning platforms, NASLA, Unity, Knowledge and Development.
News One est la tribune de promotion de l'Afrique à travers une information de qualité et en continu 24 heures sur 24. Profitez de cette vitrine pour faire la promotion de vos produits et services. À travers son cross-média qui lui permet d'avoir un large taux d'audience, News One offre le meilleur cadre d'expression à votre marque avec ses nombreux écrans publicitaires. Contactez notre service commercial et profitez d'une réduction de 50%.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Newsroom. This is the debate talk show on your favorite station, B News One, which is coming to you live from the southeast end of Yaoundé, the nation's capital of the Republic of Cameroon. Tonight, we'll be discussing the advent of the 10 regional assemblies, which are supposed to go into action as from the 4th of March. They will be meeting in their median assemblies to discuss matters concerning their regions. We'll be having as guests on this program one of the members of the Northwest Regional Assembly, Honorable Ujambe Stephen Andong, who is on his way. We will also examine the role these regional assemblies will have to play in the Northwest and Southwest, especially those two, because they have a special status with House of Chiefs as compared to the other 8 from the other 8 regions. We'll also examine certain trends in the Bamenda and Boya DDR centers, where we are hoping that we'll have the Assistant Director of the DDR station to be with us to give us certain information on the evolution of the centers. All the same, we will also review what we have in store, and then we will look into Fecafoot briefly, because Fecafoot, of course, we're waiting till the 26th of February when the CAS and, of course, the FIFA executive will actually tell us what their position is concerning the cacophony at the head of the Fecafoot Executive Bureau in Cameroon. And then we'll complete on some current events making headlines, like the visit of Mr. Moka, who is the Director of Taxation, who has announced a lot of incentives in collecting taxes and making the collection of taxes very, very accessible to all taxpayers in Cameroon. We will now welcome Mr. Henshaw Orok Are. He's a peace and conflict expert and also a consultant for B News One. Mr. Henshaw, you're welcome on the stage. And of course, like I said, we'll be talking about these major issues tonight, especially the launching of our 10 regional assemblies. what are you expecting to see in March? That will be exactly 1 year after they were elected.
Good evening, Mr. Emmanuel Jakai. Good evening to all our viewers, and I'm once more happy to be on set to discuss on pertinent topics which you select every week so that we debate to give insight for the country to go ahead positively. First of all, I want to plan the decor of what's the regional council. The regional council is one of those bodies which the 1996 constitution made mention that it should be established, and it was the last local council which the country Cameroon was expecting. And President Paul Biya, on the 7th of September 2020, called on these regional presidents to be elected. And regional presidents are 10, but for a difference that the English-speaking regions of the Northwest and Southwest regions has a special status, where you also have House of Chiefs within the regional councils. And more to that, the regional council is headed by a president, and for the Northwest region we have Mr. Fu Anglophone, and in the Southwest region we have Mr. Elango Zacchaeus. More to that, this council has members, and these members elected the president. The members have the term of office of 5 years. And as we have been saying, when this president were elected on the seat as it was stipulated, this president had to be sworn in 72 hours later. That is stipulated by the Electoral Code of 265. And more to that, this code made mention that those who were elected were to be installed on the 22nd on the 22nd, and this was done. And we are expecting that on the 4th of March they should have their meeting as per se the Constitution of 1996. And it should be noted that Cameroonians have been expecting this election since. And as you rightly asked me that, what are my expectations for this regional meeting which is going to be in place on the 4th of March? My expectation is that the regional president should gather momentum to put in place political, economic, and social development in those regions, especially the Northwest and Southwest regions. And more to that, we see this Anglophone crisis which is ongoing in those regions is part of decentralization, which the head of state, President Paul Biya, has deemed it necessary to give powers to the people. That is why the Minister of Decentralization and Regional Development called on the governors to work hand in gloves with regional presidents. And we are also expectant from those presidents who were elected to work in the interest of the people, so as for the population not to be disgruntled as they have been doing.
Go on.
As they not to be disgruntled as they have been doing. And this has made that many people are highly expectant of these regional councils, and President Paul Biya has given powers to those who were elected to carry out the activities smoothly, and that's why regional presidents have been given headquarters where they are going to carry out their activities, and they are going to carry out their activities without any problem. And hopefully, I hope that those who were elected will carry out their duties smoothly without having any fears or any influences from Yaoundé as it used to be.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Henshaw. After the power failure, our honorable
News One est la tribune de promotion de l'Afrique à travers une information de qualité et en continu 24 heures sur 24. Profitez de cette vitrine pour faire la promotion de vos produits et services. À travers son cross-média qui lui permet d'avoir un large taux d'audience, News One offre le meilleur cadre d'expression à votre marque avec ses nombreux écrans publicitaires. Contactez notre service commercial et profitez d'une réduction de 50%.
Welcome back. We excuse ourselves for the sound problems we had there. We hope that is now taken care of after the power failure that brought in the sound also being cut off. Now we have the honor and privilege to welcome into our midst Honorable Ojambeng Stephen Andong, Civil Engineer, North Regional Assembly Member, Delegate of Special Organ, also for the CPDM Section 4 in Gi, Momo Division. He's here to discuss with us the advent of the first regional assemblies that are supposed to go into operation as of the 4th of March this year, 2021. Honorable Ojambeng, you are welcome. What should we expect from this new nomenclature in our legislation?
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Jakai. I want to say it's a blessed day for me to meet you. You are looking wonderful, excellent.
Thank you.
Very handsome, and my brother Ensho. I want to say thank God for giving us this opportunity that we meet again and we discuss pertinent issues concerning our country, our beloved country, Cameroon. Let me take this opportunity to say good evening to all the regional delegates of the Regional Assembly for Northwest, and also the delegate in the other 10 regions, 9 regions, inclusive our brothers of the Southwest. I want to say we are into a program which is going to help our people alleviate poverty, bring development closer to the people. It is first of its kind in the history of Cameroon. So there are a lot which we are going to discover inside, and many other experienced people, most especially the Bureau, have been member of Caliber and Timber that were selected to be in that Bureau. There are a lot that we are going to also gain from them. As time unfolds, we will be unveiling some of the insights and the importance of the regional assembly. When I say assembly, regional assembly, I refer to the Northwest and Southwest. I think the other 8 regions are supposed to be referred to as regional councils. Well, that said, I want to appreciate the effort of the authorities of this studio. Last time I came here, I appreciated what I saw here, and apparently there are some new innovations here again. That's to say the people know what they are doing and they know where they are going to. Thank God that we have a liberal country, a country where an opportunity is given to all. Well, there are some people who are making use of that opportunity. There are some who are not making use of that opportunity. But I want to say Cameroon is a blessed country. Though we have crises like any other country, but we have to keep the faith going. Thank you so much. I am up to listen to the topics which we are going to be working on. And I believe I'm going to contribute my modest contribution, that which I also believe that televiewers will appreciate. We know not everybody will appreciate our views, but we do our best to contribute to nation building. They also have their own point.
Okay, Mr. Henshaw, what is the difference between the regional councils of the Northwest and Southwest regions compared to those in the 8 other regions?
The regional assemblies of the Northwest and Southwest regions are different as compared to the other 8 French-speaking regions because those 2 English regions have special status from the major national dialogue. The head of state and the major national dialogue came out with this. And more to that, it goes far down to the history of southern Cameroon, West Cameroon, where there were houses of chiefs, upper and lower houses. And that is why in the northwest and southwest regions, we have regional assemblies rather than regional councils in the French-speaking regions where they never had those entities. More to that, there is also another difference because, per se, the Anglophone crisis, which is ongoing, many people have been clamoring for positive changes, development in the socio-economic and political spheres. So, with these regional assemblies put in place by the head of state, President Paul Biya, who also has a right to disband those regional assemblies and regional councils, it should be made known to the public that he has all the prerogatives to call an end to the regional assemblies and regional councils. That people were elected, like my brother, Honorable Unjamboing, who is the member of the regional assembly of the Northwest Region, Mumu constituency, cannot deny what I'm saying. And more to that, the regional assemblies, the differences between the regional assemblies and the regional councils is also that the Anglo-Saxon way of doing things is different from the French system. The English people had the direct rule. So I hope with this, they are going to use this opportunity to seize or use this opportunity to do good things for their people, so that people should be expectant of positive changes and they should be behaving on the policy of President Paul Biya and head of government, John Gute.
Okay, Honorable Njambeng, you've listened to that. Can you put more water into his cup as far as the differences between the Northwest and Southwest councils and the other eight?
Mr. Enshaw is an intelligent young man. And he does his work, his home assignment very well. Before he comes to the studio, he makes sure that he knows what he is telling Cameroonians. I want to say that this is time where we, the English-speaking Cameroonians, are supposed to give a wonderful applause to the head of state, President Paul Biya, father of the nation, for thinking about us and giving us what actually reflects the Northwesterners and Southwesterners. You know that, Mr. Jakai, before there was an assembly in the West Cameroon and there was an assembly here in Yaoundé. And so creating regional councils was already a program that was in the decentralization program. It was in that file of the decentralization program. The crisis that brought up in the early 2017 gave an opportunity for the head of state, President Paul Biya, to look into the problems of the English-speaking Cameroonians. And we can still we can still look at how this crisis started. We know teachers and lawyers are the first people that went on the street clamoring for their right, that the English system of education has been usurped, or we could even say it has been assimilated. English language itself, a lot of people were complaining that it has been assimilated. Many people hold the opinion that the culture that the English people brought together with our brothers of the French-speaking Cameroon was almost murdered. And so they wanted to feel part of Cameroon, respecting the culture in which they came with. And the head of state, like he said in one program, that he thought that we could harmonize these cultures and come up with one unique culture that could be beneficial for all the Cameroonians. But he has seen that an English-speaking Cameroonian is so tied to his culture that which he will not want to adapt any other culture other than that which he was brought up with. And so because of that, he called for the national dialogue. And in the national dialogue, we had this wonderful golden opportunity that the head of state, out of his largesse, said, no, I am granting a special status to the Anglophones. When they say of a special status, now, this is where the regional councils of Northwest and Southwest gain some extra impetus, extra power added to it. But when you talk of a special status, it means that they are of a different standard. Because there is already an existing assembly here in Yaoundé. Now that they have given an opportunity of regional councils in the rest of the other 10 regions, Northwest and Southwest now enjoy a special status that will transform the two councils from Northwest and Southwest as assemblies. If you go into the articles, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to enter to sit on the seat that doesn't belong to me. But I think that from those areas where I have read, gives a direct link from the regional councils to deal directly with the Senate. And if the National Assembly prepares their document and sends it to the Senate for validation, and the regional council does it, it tells you that it is an assembly on its own. But where I still think that a lot more needs to be done is at the level of recognitions of the various councils. If all the other 8 regions councils that within the East Mongo area should be referred to as regional councils, Northwest and Southwest should be referred to as regional assemblies. And if it is an assembly, then they need to give them those rights as parliamentarians. They need to have their sharps. They need to have their effigies. They need to, even the signboards to the main office should be referred to as Northwest Regional Assembly, Southwest Regional Assembly. This is how it is. Now, an assembly in the Northwest and an assembly in the Southwest means that, and the House of Chiefs means that the problems that are emanating within the villages, the subdivisions, the divisions, they are brought, we discuss them at the level of the region, try respecting our culture, respecting the way we do things, our academic system of education, our legal system. All these things are put together. And then whatever the people are clamoring for, the assembly will prepare and send it to the Senate. This is what the people of the Northwest and Southwest want now for development. Guretin, the government has already put as a plan to send some budget directly to the various regions. Now, with the budget that is available, we have the power to make use of this budget and send it directly to where the problems are. Not that center system where before, if there is a problem in, let's say, in Indian, or they have to prepare it, the parliamentarian will go and send it to, take it to the assembly. Maybe we know the difficulties with private member bills until the bill comes through the government, or maybe you have to prepare this, send it through a particular ministry. It goes, get to the minister for it to enter into the program, for the minister to carry to the assembly to go and defend it. But now, power has been brought down to the people. The budget is at the level of the region. Should we fail in our duty to develop the people, then we don't have to blame the head of state and the government of Cameroon, because the government of Cameroon is doing its best to bring power closer to us. Yes.
I've heard somewhere that the regional councils already have a special dotation of 20 billion for this year, of which 8 billion will be put aside for investment for 2021. I don't know how far that proposal is. Is it a proposal, or that's what is going to put into place?
What I know is that the national budget took in considerations a particular percentage of the budget to go down to the regions. That I cannot give with certainty the amount. We are yet to meet, and the first session is coming in March. We don't yet know the date. We cannot be talking on something we are not having any document to attest that this is it. Anything you say about a budget now will be Romo, and those who are propagating false information also stand the risk to be questioned. But I think that the government has done something wonderful Wonderful. That notwithstanding the opportunity that has been given to the region to be able to canvass for projects with other partner countries to develop their regions according to their manpower. That I know that development in Cameroon is going to be competition. There's going to be competition, and nobody should say that we have been left out of the national cake. The cake is on our table.
Yes, Honorable. And also, this afternoon, we follow the appointments of presidents of the contract award boards in all the regions. Each region has its own president who's in charge of the commission of awarding contracts. Does that, what impression do you have with this new appointment as of 1 p.m. Today?
Before I answer the question, my brother Honorable Njangbe had been raising some concerns about the effigy of the region as well as where they are going to sit and so forth. I want to also call on those who have been elected, the presidents, as I was saying, to take this as a clarion call of the population to develop their region, because the balls are in their hands, mostly those from the northwest and southwest regions. Our brothers and sisters are suffering. They're counting a lot for us to be developed through these regional assemblies. And more to that, there is also one problem which is disturbing me. This public independent conciliator who is going to be appointed by the head of state. You know, if somebody is appointed by the head of state, who is elected, you cannot have an upper hand even you are right in front of that person. And more to that, this issue which the governors of the northwest and southwest regions are specifying, because those are special regions, who came and I can say installed those regional presidents. It's not proper, because those governors installing them is going to show that those governors have still upper hands on those people, those presidents who were appointed. And something needs to be done. I know that is a process with time. The head of state, the Minister of Decentralization and Regional Development, the Prime Minister are going to see how they are going to solve those type of problems. Now I want to answer your question that these people have been appointed for what they call Passation de Marché today. What's my take? My take is that it's a good idea that they have been appointed. It makes us to know that things are going to be shaking in those regional assemblies and regional councils. But as I was saying before, that is almost like the public independent conciliators who have been appointed. I would have wished that those who are in the regions, those regional presidents should appoint their own representatives to do those things, those businesses, awarding of contracts, because those who are in those regions, they master their region very well, and when they do something in their region, they know that if it goes on wrongly, they will be held accountable by the population. But if somebody who is a public this thing, Passation de Marché, gives to somebody else, if the person does not do it very well, the person will tell you that you didn't appoint me, or you didn't give me that contract for me to do in your region. So it's going to be a big bottleneck when they are doing things. If our head of state and the government want to do things, it should do things rightly so that they should avoid problems rather than creating some other problems.
Is that your same take, Honorable Njangbe?
No, what he's saying is not bad, but I think that there's a mix-up somewhere. The public conciliator, which is independent, is there to look at the problems that are coming on both ends. Yes, he is there to mediate for both those inside and those outside. If you are disgruntled with the way things are going, maybe it is on the contracts or anything like you just mentioned. Maybe you're frustrated, you've written time and number to the president of the tender board, and he doesn't seem to pay any attention to it. The only person you can refer to is the private public administrator to see how to handle the situation, to bring peace within the people. I think the head of state, this conception was a good one, is to see how we can handle our problems within our regions so that they don't get out of hand. If we had these private public conciliators before, I don't think the Anglophone crisis would have gone up to this level.
Yes. Is this for all the regions of Cameroon?
What I know is that the text says there is a private public consulator. I don't know about the other regions, but I should think that it will be important to have the same in the other regions, because we are talking of the Anglophone crisis today. We don't know what is affecting the other regions.
Yes, because
and we will not allow it get to the level we are today.
Because you know that the south region and East, for example,
it's a good thing you know some
are suffering from land exploitation, which is taking is going into various angles now.
Well, let us not go there. Let us not go there. There are many other regions that are having crises that have not escalated to the level where the Anglophone crisis is. And we will not want it to come to that level. And so there should also be a private public consulator that can handle situations that are getting out of hand. So there, I don't see any problem with having a public private consulator appointed by the head of state, President Paul. He is the father of the nation, so he has the power to do that. He is the only person and the guarantor of the peace of this country. So he knows the kind of people he's appointing there. The other point which my brother did mention was that of, what was that did you say? You said something about, what was that? Something about, is it contract or what? Something of that nature.
The contract board.
The contract board, by the time these presidents are being appointed in regions, they
Yes.
will have upper hands.
Yes.
They will have upper hands upon those elected president of the region.
Yes, you talk about the president of the tender board, you talk about the governor, the influence of the governor over the regional assemblies. Okay, now, the first thing is, when they are starting something from scratch, they must get some people around to kickstart what is going on. And then after some time, we begin to get the experts who would have come in to develop it to perfection.
That's what I was saying. That
yes, so
the head of state, the prime minister and the rest should look in order to make sure that this thing goes better. That is a process.
You are saying something very, very important. I like that. What you are saying is good. I think the hierarchy of this country, the prime minister, the head of state, President Paul Biya, the prime minister, and all the cabinet ministers are not sleeping. I believe, deep in my soul, I know that they want the best for Cameroonians, and they are doing their best. They are not sleeping. They are working. The only problem is that Anglophones think too fast. There are a lot of intellectuals in Cameroon. Many of them have not yet gained employment, so they sit in their houses and develop their own employment. Some of the employment they have developed is writing through the social media. I think some of them are already gaining grants because they are making name for themselves through the social media, but negatively. And so, because of this vast country, a beautiful nation with so many intellectuals who are looking for possibility to have jobs, they don't have. What they sit and do in their private rooms is dangerous. They say the idle man is a dangerous scam. Don't get to that level. And so I know our cabinet ministers, through the head of state, President Paul Biya, and the head of government, the prime minister, they are not sleeping. They are working. We are getting out of crisis. Cameroon is getting grounds. And I believe you, from March, Cameroon will not be the same. There are a lot of communiques that have come out, there are a lot of texts that have been signed, but the text of applications have not also been signed. And so before they get to sign the text of application, most of these things must have been perfected. So that we kickstart.
My brother, you talk it so well, but you know, acting and putting it in place is the most important thing. Cameroon has one of the best texts in the world, but the main problem is the applicability, and which is the main problem in Cameroon. Cameroon has many intellectuals, as you said, and natural resources are so enormous. Without talking about other manpower, which are so high. Everywhere you go around the world, you meet at least a Cameroonian in top-ranking positions. But why is it that our country is not overdeveloping as the head of state is thinking that it should be going? The reason why we need to be doing things practically rather than just talking about text.
Yes, my brother, you're right. You are right. I give you a pat on your back. But where I differ with you is that they do not implement. No. They delay in implementing, not that they
Sometimes they don't implement.
Well, no, that is what
look
you're
at
saying.
Look at the regional assemblies. Since
let me
1996,
It
the
has
constitution.
come to
After
the-
how many years?
No,
After how many years?
I wanted
It's too slow.
Mr. Enshaw.
It's too slow.
I would have loved you to say the process is slow in implementing than say they don't implement. We are talking of the regional council. It is already. Is it not in place? It is in place.
It is in place after how many
Centralization is
years?
coming
And
gradually.
let's wait and see how effective it's going to be. That's why we give a tick that it has gone.
Are you still doubting?
I want to see the things.
I want to implore you to
we
go
see.
back to your region and start talking to the academicians who have a beautiful offices in their homes to spend more time in developing projects for the region rather than writing letters that will cause more chaos to the country.
If you invite
This
them,
is an
if
opportunity.
you invite them, like in the Northwest Regional Assembly, where you are one of the members, invite them to chip in their ideas. Why not employ those who can be employed, who have the competence to make sure that things move forward? It will be a good thing.
That is just what we are saying. We are saying we're on the same thing.
What is there is that
what I was
people
suggesting
have
to
their
you,
files, they
because-
have their files and whatsoever, but for them to be recruited or whatsoever, let's wait and see.
But yeah,
It will be a man no man as usual.
I am appreciating your idea. You are a very good, refined brain of Cameroon. I think they are listening. They are listening to the proposals you are giving. But you know many of them than I do. And so I am encouraging you to talk to them, to go closer to the regional presidents. These are gentlemen. They are open to dialogue with anybody who is ready to give any contribution.
I
to
hope
the
they are going to
development of
have
the region.
access to those regional presidents.
If you want,
because
if you want their contacts, I will give it to you.
I know you can give to
Yes.
me, but to those other people can, because you know the affinity I have with you, you can give me, but to others you cannot. And if you give them, if by the time they call, those regional presidents will not pick.
Exactly, because you cannot be taking a call for somebody you don't know.
No.
But I'm saying that
When you are a man of the
Listen,
people,
listen,
you take
listen,
call
listen.
from everybody.
No, let me come.
From everybody.
Let me come, Angel. Let me come. Except you are living in a space. Our phones have become too hot for us to answer calls. You answer calls that identify. Most often we answer calls that we don't know. We think these are people of good faith. But the kind of conversation you receive is a dangerous one that can even send you to your early grave.
I know what you are saying, because you
But
are so far from the Anglophone Crise. I know.
Well, simple courtesy says that you should not take calls or non-calls.
No.
And when you call somebody, you should have that courtesy to first of all identify yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
But they do. You know what? If you are a man of the people, at all time 247, all numbers you pick.
That was
You are the
before.
one. You are the one. You
That
are
was
the one
before.
who will know how to speak to somebody in a polite manner. My brother, I'm a little bit busy. I'll get back to you one way or the other. I have in a few time. That's all. You close a
My
person
brother, are you coming from
peacefully.
this space?
No,
Are you in
honestly,
this
that's what
country?
I do. That's what I do.
Do you see what happens on the field? Do you see what these guys are doing?
I know. I've been seeing. I've been
That
watching.
young children, some who are not even up to your grandchildren, they call and insult you on the phone. As they are calling you, the first word is insult. Your mommy?
I know.
There was one which the national chairman of SCF, John Fondi, having that is a man of caliber and timber. Somebody who have contributed a lot to nation building. That children will call a man like that. It was on the social media. I don't know if Mr. Jakai also follow up that audio. Insulting your mommy Pima, your mommy Bumbo. On the phone, you call a man like that, you start insulting. He was a gentleman. He said, no, it's a call. Let me answer. It's a Cameroonian calling. I don't know this person. But the first thing is insult and all the like. And so what I was saying is that you look a gentleman and I like you for the kind of person you are. I see the spirit of nation building in you.
Thanks a
you
lot.
are a true Republican. And that is why I am asking you to use that good faith in you to talk to those people you know.
I've been talking to
When
them.
you talk to them, you can organize a rendezvous to meet the president. Want them. Once the president, I introduce you to the president, or any other person of the region introduce you to the president, you know, okay, this is a man of caliber. Before Honorable Jammeh will bring this man to me, he knows the kind of person. Let me give him some audience. He receives you, you talk to him, say, okay, I have some people that can bring, they will contribute. Ideas on how you can help the region to go faster. Say, good, fine. You make a rendezvous, you take them to him, and you people have a very gentleman meeting.
It's so pleasant listening from Honorable Unjambeng, and I hope that it comes to pass because our people are so good at speaking, and I know the way you speak.
Judging from both of you. Now, let us move on to see how can these regional councils help in solving the Anglophone crisis. This is a time for closeness to the people, reconciliation, sharing views of the truth, and of course,
before it takes over, I would like you to refer to Northwest and Southwest as regional assembly.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. To the Northwest and Southwest regional assemblies.
Thank you.
How can they? What role can they play to solve the Anglophone crisis, the present crisis?
The roles which the regional assemblies can play to stop the Anglophone crisis is one, by the regional assemblies developing the regions properly. Secondly, those children who have laid down their arms, who are in the DDRs, in the Northwest, in Bamenda and Boya, they should go there and talk to them, provide tangible support, physical or financial. Why not recruit some of them in those regional assemblies? There are many, and the assembly is not only for intellectuals. There are all sorts of people who can be recruited there because they have been clamoring for a job that they need to occupy themselves, that they are tired staying there, promises upon promises, there's nothing coming forth. And more to that, these regional assemblies, for them to resolve the Anglophone crisis, our brothers and sisters who have been appointed, who have been elected, and some appointed who are going to work in partnership with those regional assemblies in the Northwest and Southwest region, should do this working in good faith. Working in good faith meaning what? That they should think first about the population, about the people before themselves, and that they are going for a challenge to restore peace in the Northwest and Southwest regions, and that our elites who are not in the regional assemblies should work in collaboration with those who have been elected, so that there should be genuine development in the Northwest and Southwest regions, because you have many elites who are backbiting their own borders. Many elites who they talk, when they talk, they don't do what they have said. If they have that faith and that they consider somebody who is in the bush like himself, consider those who are poor like himself, consider those who have gone to school and him who has gone to school and whom has not gone to school to be the same, then I bet you that there will be a bit of pity, a bit of harmony, and those are brothers and sisters who are in the bushes will begin to lay down their arms, so that there should be effective peace all over the Northwest and Southwest region, and not in some areas like in Limbe, part of Boya, part of Bamenda, and some other few regions in the Northwest and Southwest regions.
Okay, Honorable Jabe, take on that.
Mr. Jakai, the problem is solved. Are you not seeing it?
Yes.
The fact that a special status has been given to Northwest and Southwest, the fact that Northwest and Southwest is referred to as regional assemblies, autonomy that has been given to the Northwest people to do things the way they know best. This is what the English-speaking Cameroonians have been crying for. They want to do things in their own way. The head of state has said, I have given you an open field. Do it the way it pleases you. We have a commissioner for education. We have a commissioner for environment. We have a commissioner for projects.
For health.
For health and all the land. There are 3 commissioners that embodies everything. That is to tell you that whatever that we want to do in our regions, this is the time. Anglophones are crying of marginalization. Now the head of state have said, enough. I give you the opportunity to develop yourself the way you want. I go to the National Cape. I send you a chunk of money that would help you to kickstart. You have the power to generate money in your own way. You have the power to create companies and employ your sons and daughters who are looking for jobs. You have the power to build the region academically, intellectually, in every way. Your culture has been given that possibility to be developed the way you want it to be. You know, the Northwesterners and the Southwesterners have this sentimental attachment to their culture. We respect our thoughts. Though the administration called the chiefs, we do not know chiefs in the Northwest. What we know in the Northwest, we know funds. We have but funders, not chiefdoms. And so we respect our funds. You know, in the beginning, this was the only administration that we used to know. And now it has given an opportunity for them to exercise their powers the way it was, to bring back their sons and daughters closer to them, teach them their culture. This is wrong, this is right, this is the way we should do things, this is the way we should do things. Within our circumference, we can understand ourselves better. And then we get the best out of all this understanding, bundle it and send it to the Senate for adoption and propagating them into action. This is what the Anglophones have been crying for. God has blessed us that we have a God-fearing man as a president of a nation, a God-given nation with diversity of blessings. My brother. So he has given us this opportunity. This is time for the Northwesterners, especially the delegates. I call them parliamentarians because it is an assembly. To get in touch with their brothers in the diaspora. Tell them to contribute, give those ideas they want to use, which they have been fighting for, to transform Cameroon a better nation. This is time for competition, inter-regional competition. This is time for the Anglophone to showcase that we were fighting for something. Now you have given us, we want to show you what we were fighting for. If we can transform Norway and Southwest to a modern city, a come and see nation, a come and see region, to attract tourists to come there, fine. That will make us look people that have a vision, people that know what they are fighting for. God has given them, they are making use of the opportunity to better up the situation that was considered a bad one. Point number 3, Mr. Jakai. Do you know that the roads in the Northwest and the Southwest are horrible? Yes. This is time for the Northwesterners to bring in their heads together to develop these roads themselves. It's no longer an issue of coming to the Minister of Public Works here in Yaoundé to table feasibility studies that were carried on the road to go to this area or to go to this area, and then later on you were talking of maybe 10 kilometers, and then they end up giving you 1 kilometer or not even up to 1 kilometer.
1 kilometer,
and
yes.
They say, oh, this is marginalization, this is cheating. The chance has been given to you. If we want to make Northwest and Southwest a come and see region, we have the opportunity now. The first session is coming in March. I am taking this opportunity to talk to our brothers in the diaspora. You have been talking to us in other forums. Please, our brother, with the knowledge you have, reduce energy in writing letters or messages that are going to keep us fighting, killing ourselves, slaughtering others, and putting people's hands and all the like. Use this opportunity to give us ideas on how to better up this regional assembly that has been given to us. God designated, given regional assembly. I want to praise God for President Paul Biya. It's a man we will want to have him again in the next world as a president of this country.
Okay, Henshaw, you have the closing
my
opinion on this?
My brother, Honorable Unjamin Stephen, speaks so well that if you listen to him, you think that as from March, the Northern and Southern region will be a paradise on earth. I wish that it should be like that, because our brothers and sisters from the Northern and Southern regions have been suffering for the past 4 years plus. And as I was saying, I'm happy you made mention of that, that this is a time for us to seize this opportunity which the head of state, President Paul Biya, has offered to us, the Northwest and Southwest regional assemblies, those who were elected, to showcase what they know, to put to knowledge what they know, and to make a positive difference or positive differences with other regions. Meaning what? Developing their socio-economic infrastructure and cultural infrastructure. Not forgetting the putting of place of solid human resources in those assemblies, because if you are giving an assembly without solid human resources inside, it will be like a rotten egg that is beautiful outside but inside is rotten, is smelling. So I'm calling on all the presidents who were elected in the Northwest and Southwest regional assemblies, not forgetting the members like my brother Ujambeng Stephens, to carry their voices highly so that they should speak to the president and give them good ideas, as us who are also outside can also channel some positive ideas, so that our regions should be the best regions in Cameroon, so that our brothers who used to hear of indirect rule should feel a sort of indirect rule this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Henshaw, Harry, and Honorable Onjamben. We've completed this inaugural discussion on the regional assemblies, and we'll now see when you go over next month what you bring to us, so that we can share with the other other Cameroonians from the other 8 regions. Okay. So we'll take a short break and be right back after the jingle.
You cannot give him your water now.
Welcome back to the debate. We're going to the second segment, which deals with disarmament, destabilisation, and reintegration. Yes, okay. And actually, we wanted to find out the actual situation on the fields, especially in our DDR centers in Boya and in Bamenda. Unfortunately, the second in command of DDR, because of other professional constraints, has not been able to be with us this time. But hopefully we'll better organize his invitation for us to have clearance from all levels, to bring him on the stage. However, it looks like there's been some activity, not kind of nice, but a remake of what happened in the Boya DDR station on the 3rd of February this year. They blocked the streets and the rest. In Bamenda, the others came out with the flags and moved around. So what is the significance of all this?
I watched an interview of Yannick Kawakawa on Equinox TV. It was a one-on-one with one journalist there. He was talking of how they are nowhere catered for in the center. They were made promises before laying down their arms. They have not been able to, those people in the GZR centers have not been able to respect their what they said. And more to that, he said he was complaining that others who came after him have been settled, meaning that they have been given jobs whereas he's there. And more to that, that the living condition there is not the best. And that they have a computer section there which is just by name. When the minister is coming down or the head of DDR Fayengo is going down, people pretend to make as if there is something going on well there. And more to that, they said they have been trained. They don't know why they have not been reinserted in the society, which was what they were promised. And he was saying that people are going to
That's in Boya, right?
Yes, I'm just giving a historic of why it went from Boya to Bamenda, because it's almost the same reason which they have been saying that they went to the streets. And after what Yannick Kawakawa said, 2 weeks later, those guys went demonstrating, manifesting against those who are in the center, and the Prime Minister John Gute sent some monies for their identity card to be done, giving them some pocket monies and some promises like being reinserted in the society to give them jobs. And those in the Northwest region on Monday went to the street striking that they should be catered as well. and the Prime Minister heard their cry and said some monies. The same thing which he did in Boya was done in Bamenda. I want to call on all the stakeholders who are involved into the DDR issue and restoring peace in the Northwest and Southwest region, that when they say something to those guys, they should do them. Because by the time they say something to those guys positively, like giving them jobs, training them, and they don't do, it will not encourage others to drop down their arms to go into those centers. And more to that, Yannick Kawakawa was saying that before, when he was in the bushes, per month he could earn 20 million. But now he's there, his family is in Shabo. And when he's saying such a thing, people are listening, those who are in the bushes, because they have ways in which they follow those media. It doesn't encourage others to drop their arms. I'm begging, I'm calling on those who are responsible for those guys' well-being, for those guys' security, for those guys' betterment in the society, to look forward to implement actions which they have promised those guys before they lay down their arms.
Now, when we look into what those in Boya were asking for, do you think they exaggerated, or it is very normal for them to say that? Because somebody says he was making 20 million, and today in the DDR centers he's not making that much. So what did he invest the 20 million in before coming back?
So what was he expecting before dropping down the cost?
Yes. You see,
anyway,
I don't know.
These are children that have gone wayward.
Yes.
They don't know what it means by 20 million. They just call money. That, of course, that is how they behave. When you are tracked down and taken to the dungeons, where they are the gods, you will hear them pronounce 20, 30, 40 million. They are used to pronouncing millions. Yes, that is the charge or the price you will pay for falling into their hands. No, they refer to you as black leg, even though your legs are not black. Yes. It's just a kind of way of expressing dissatisfaction with the kind of treatment that is given to them at the level of DDR center. Yes, I know that the treatment will not be the way it was before with them when they were in the bush. Because when they were in the bush, they were deciding for themselves whatever they want to eat and at what time. But now they are under stringent control. They don't have access to do things the way they want. That alone is already a problem to them. They cannot get their weeds like they used to have it in the bush. That is already a problem to them. Now they have been restricted from certain kind of behavior and consumption, which now puts them upright. They can now reason, they can now think. Before, they were acting on drugs. They say when you're acting on drugs, you can just do anything. Now their thinking caps are working. If they can differentiate between bad treatment and good treatment, it means that their brains are coming back to normal. Because everything to them was just normal before. Whether it was good or bad, they see no reason complaining. I think the government has done its best through the DDR to keep them in a confined environment where they rehabilitate them. This is already a sign to show to the world that these are brothers, our children, are now reasoning. If they can define between good and bad, their brains are now working. It's a call for the government to look at what to do now.
I have this funny feeling that all of a sudden it's like there is some external or internal influence in those centers where these children are being put through another form of brainwashing. That, are you prisoners? What are you doing there? Can't you go out and do this and that?
You are right.
It's true.
Yes.
You are right, because a lot of NGOs have been making a lot of money through this crisis. Some take the possibility to risk all their lives to go to the bush. to talk to these guys, and then they report back to their motherly non-governmental organization for more fundings to gather information and send. Okay, now that the thing is coming down, their new fine job is already getting some threats that it may end. And so the only thing for them to get more news to report, so that more funding should be coming, they go to these centers, they instigate these children to rebel, to do things that will show to the non-governmental organization, funding the governmental organization that, oh, there's crisis here. You know, this is what they want to hear. What is happening there? They want to get good news, direct source.
Yes.
As you are giving new direct source, that's how the money too is flowing into the, you see, there are a lot of problems.
There are a lot of problems. Yes.
There
So,
are
Mr. Henshaw, in Boya, you come back. We are still on it. We are not in a haste. We'll come back. In Boya, I saw the children, they blocked the road, but I sat there and did nothing. And after the SGO and the divisional officer came and spoke with them, they stood up on their own and walked down to Small Support to Boston Institute. I did not see them carried in any vehicle. There was no destruction. A few friends and family members came around with bikes, but they were just sitting there, not looking like people were maltreated or they were hungry. They wanted to make a point. In Bamenda, it was the same thing. They came out on the streets, but they did not disturb traffic, and they were marching with the national flag. What's your take on those two images?
What my take is, my brother Honorable Njame made the point that NGOs have been eating big from the Anglophone crisis. It's true, you know, when you have NGOs mostly concerning peace and conflicts, that's where they get a big chunk of the finances to show that they are receiving fundings abroad to help people who have been displaced and whatsoever. But I want to differ with him, saying that those guys, what they are doing is not good and the rest. Those guys are suffering. It's good to quote the example. I wanted to say that example to show that they are Republicans, they are no more on drug influences. They march, they never did any destruction. They were sending a strong message to Yaoundé, to the DDR head. They were sending a strong message to the Prime Minister, sending a strong message to the head of state and other international donors or organizations that we were before bad people. We have done bad things, but we are in the center. Promises were made, and we have made sure that our own part of the contract was respected. So now it's a turn of the government to respect theirs, but they are not understanding why it is so delaying, and that is what made them to become so mad. Sometimes you should not always be pointing, accusing fingers upon people. I read one newspaper saying that the head of the DDR center is instigating those guys and the rest, you know. Sometimes some newspapers carry funny headlines. I don't want to call the newspaper. It's a newspaper of today that I saw. And it's not always good. What we need is that these guys should be settled as human beings. They should be looked upon as those who have to be given brighter futures. It's true that they are caused some atrocities, but two wrongs cannot make a right. So let the government act as quick as possible, so as for others who are in the bushes to lay down their arms and come join their brothers in the DDR center and be reintegrated in a society of responsible and civilized people.
Okay, when, like you said, it's a possibility of external influence, like the newspaper you read today. We don't know how far they read the newspapers, but those outside too, the stories that are coming from the DD center may also not be so accurate. That is why maybe those in Bamenda came out on the streets to say, to let the public know for themselves.
Yeah, there's a communication link between those in Bamenda and those in the southwest. They have communication. They communicate within themselves.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
no,
so
they're even on social media. They're even on social media. They are even on social media and they have links.
Okay, now you see, I'm not saying that what my brother Henshaw is saying is wrong. It would be bad for us to start judging them or giving them names, the fact that they accepted to drop down arms is something we must appreciate. It's something we must appreciate, and I think the government too is appreciating.
It's appreciating.
It's
Yes.
appreciated.
And
You see, they were the talk of the national dialogue.
yes.
Some people wanted to be part of the national dialogue. They didn't have the
Didn't have
opportunity.
Yes, good.
Yes, it's
Both of us who
Yes,
wanted
I
were
was
sure.
an expert of peace and conflict.
Peace
I
and
sent my
conflict. We were
document there,
supposed
we
to be
kept it aside.
Yes.
So
Whereas
you
I
see,
said,
these
this
guys
thing-
were there.
Yes.
They were there.
Yes. Well, they were the foundation. They were on the foundation
Was addressing the nation and the
and the
world.
world, and begging for pardon and crying.
Yes.
So
Okay, now, let me buttress my point.
Yes.
I want to say that the government is doing everything at its reach to see that these children are completely reinstated, not partially.
fully.
Yes, fully.
Yes.
Now, let me come.
Yes.
It is not easy to reintegrate somebody into the society after that person has just transited from one other system to another.
Another. Yes.
They need to be perfectly sure you are transformed. The fact that they are giving them the opportunity to go out of the camp at will, stroll around and come back, is a process of reintegrating them. Now, my brother, let me ask you. This is a company set by a good Cameroonian to promote national unity integration of Cameroon, peace and all the like. And they say one of the staff here was in the bush, has participated in spilling human blood, cut off the head of somebody. It was nothing to him. All of a sudden, he surrenders, he comes back. They say you are to present the news here, just the two of you here. There's a stigma. Even though you'll be looking at him as a colleague, but deep in you, there is a fear that this man can go back to his old life. What become of me here, just the two of us in this studio? Mr. Jakai, can you comfortably sleep with such a person near you?
No, not so easily.
So now, the thing is, the government is trying to get out this stigma from these children. The only way to get the stigma out of them is that they begin to allow them start mingling with people normally, gradually drink with them, they dash them some few coins, they go back, they are drilled in this, and next day they give them time to go. Gradually they are coming back, they begin to have friends that they can drink with them, they don't have fear about them any longer. Maybe they can begin to send them to some shops, workshops to go and do some practice there and all the like.
Self-confidence
Confidence.
building
You have to build it, you have to build
mechanisms,
until
yes.
people wipe away the fear. To work with them freely without fear. Then, once the government discover that Mr. A is already operating with these people without fear and all the like, okay, he was doing apprenticeship in this, we think that he has met up with the conditions of being a patron. Can we put him in one of the company? They will integrate him into company so that there will be a continual follow-up. Because if they integrate them, there will still be a continual follow-up. So, but what I see is that these are sons want an automatic integration.
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
That have been in those centers for 1-2 years for some.
No. Let's say you are going to a technical education. Let's say you were going to.
I'm saying that is true. There have been some have been 1-2 years in those centers.
No, when was the centers created? Yes. It was just created a few days ago.
Which few days? GTR was created a few days. It's
Just
more than that.
Because
it's more than that. It's more than 2 years.
Because
it's more than 2 years. Do your research, you see.
Mr. Henshaw, do you know in those centers they are drilled in professions, trades? Some carpenters, some builders, some electricians, some...
42 have already been reinserted in the DTR center in Bamenda.
Good.
And they have built a new center
Yes.
that can take 1,000.
What is there
1,000.
is that they need to be reintegrated in the society properly.
That's 42.
Yes.
You don't integrate all.
Out of how many? Out of 142?
Mr.
Does it make half of it?
No, it doesn't have to be even half.
The job is not proper.
Let's talk like gentlemen.
Yes.
Let's talk like gentlemen. We're in a program.
Yes.
Let's say these children were in a rehabilitation center. A SM, that's what we call rehabilitation.
Yes.
I'm talking like an engineer.
Like here in Benguela, agricultural center here
You
in
will have
Benguela.
to go 2
It's not the
years.
same thing like the TTR.
Listen now.
There are two sort of people.
Can we go? You will have to go 2 years of training.
Yes.
And after
But
2
when
years,
what those people went through is not the same like those at Bingela.
listen to what I'm saying. I say, let's consider that they are in a transformation school pursuing a particular trade that will give them new life after coming out of the center. Do you think 2 years is enough for somebody to be an expert in the profession?
Why not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's why I was using rehabilitation, because rehabilitation has just 2 years. Then after the 2 years, you have to write a diploma exam to have a certificate that testify that you are qualified. And if they have already graduated 40, it means that these are those that have been tested and seen that they already have a master of particular trade that they can be useful in the society based on the trade they studied there. And so I think if we were 3 years, 4 years, we can now begin to say, no, but the number of people that have graduated is too less. Can they do something? If it is about feeding, I know these guys have already expanded their stomach with too much feeding while in the bush, because they had access to food. They could just see a goat passing, they gone in, nobody's going to question them. If you are the owner, maybe you give them a jug of wine to add to it so that they can eat and push it with something. So in the center, they don't eat the way they were eating in the bush. And so that's the reason why the Prime Minister comes in automatically to say, hey, maybe the budget that was allocated there is not up to. Let me give some more power so that they can be fine. And the good thing, the guys are showing that they are responsible. Did you hear what Mr. Jakai said? They went on the street, they did not destroy, they did not cause any havoc. They drew the attention of the government that
And
they are not well fed.
Meaning they should be reintegrated in the society because they are no more toxicoman. They don't have weeds again in their head. It has been cleansed off. And more to that, they have gained some trading for those who didn't study any trading. And some of them were educated people, advanced level. Some
all have died.
And more to that, they have been what they call recycled. Yes, so they need to be reinstated in the society, because if not, they become more dangerous than being helpful.
That is why they are preparing the national ID cards.
Yes.
70 in Boya.
If they didn't strike, they would have not done that.
No,
why should people always go in
We
the
don't
street?
refuse that. We don't refuse
always go
that.
strike.
They went on strike, but
Why should they have been complaining before?
The strike was to
Why
make
should they do
people
that?
aware.
You
It was to make people aware.
When the English word strike, we
Yes.
did not. Definitely, they were making use of that word.
Yes.
And the government has taken note of what they
That's
were.
why the Prime Minister reacted
perhaps-
within 24 hours.
Perhaps
of
it
those
has only helped the authority to work faster on the document.
on the document.
It doesn't mean that the government was not aware that they needed ID cards. But we also take this opportunity to talk to members of government, most especially the men in uniforms, because I saw in another WhatsApp audio and video made by how do you call this other man? This one guy was in Nigeria. He's back. He's working with the uniform officers to see how they could bring in more of this.
General Nyambele?
Nyambele,
Yes.
complaining of a bitter encounter with a uniform officer. I don't think this is good. It is not good for us. Yes, it is true that they have committed crimes, but the government has pardoned them, and the government wants them to come on board and help the government to get back some of these boys who are still hanging in the bush. Let them come out so that we can build Cameroon. And so if this guy is on a mission assigned by the government, it will be very, very poor for a uniform officer to embarrass him the way he cried. It is not helpful to us in any way. I speak like an Anglophone, and I think other Anglophones are listening to me. It is so touching, and we suffer the pain so much, especially those of us who are looked upon as politicians of the region. You cannot imagine the trouble we are going through. I know
what you went through.
Yes, I lost my property.
House was burnt and the rest.
A wonderful
died and the rest.
I built at home for my parents and myself.
I know.
All were raised down, my properties, everything. My children arrested, molested. Some were writing their matrices. They took the kids, laptops, and all those things, destroyed them, tortured them. And you see, so when we are fighting and the government is helping us to see that we bring this thing to an end, and some uniform officers are causing more harm than good, I think that it is bad. It is worth condemning. I am pleading to the hierarchy, the authority of the uniform officers, to talk to their subordinates, to be friendly. Let them be friendly. We need to close ranks to be able to bring out these children from the bushes. Without that, we will keep on putting fire to fire, fire to fire. I appreciate the work of Sirac, the First Lady, Madame Chantabia. She is doing a wonderful job. The distribution of materials to people, especially the displaced people, is a wonderful thing. How I wish we had like 3 Chantabias in Cameroon. They would have been doing all the great job, but she is doing a wonderful job. One other thing that I also want to say here is that we have people who can equally do things the way Madame Chantabia is doing. But it's like they don't love this country. Even some of the members of Sirac, some are lukewarm, because we know some who are members from our divisions. Even though some are usurping offices to say they are members of Sirac parading around, you see them move with big cars.
It's good you are saying that.
Yes, they move with big cars. They are not even members of Sirac. But when they get to the region, they impose themselves as members of Sirac, and they do nothing just to occupy seats. That's some of the things we must condemn.
And they are not beneficial.
If we want to build Cameroon, Mr. Chakai, permit me. I speak like a militant of the CPD. I speak like one who loves this country, and I will want the best for this country. Let us not be deceiving ourselves. Let us be honest to ourselves and do things the right way.
Okay.
I am saying that if we have to come out of this, it is going to be a collective effort. It is not the government alone. The government has done enough. And I think we too have to take our own responsibility to help the government to bring down things to normal.
It's true.
Okay, final word on that before we go to Fecafoot.
I'm happy the way my brother Honorable Unjamben concluded his parody, because everything was just so good. At the end of the DDR talk, he came and said things the way they are. As I was saying, we have elites. We have people whom they are even fighting against our own progresses from our own regions. And we are blaming people from the French-speaking regions. Whereas they even have sympathy upon us. That is what is really bad. Because I don't see why you, a businessman, Honorable Ujambe, have been on one occasion, you are a businessman, his own brother from the same region will block him having business.
Yes.
I'm telling you, contracts, blocking him. They do. Is that normal? And when he has his shares, but they don't want that he should have anything, which is too bad. We should say things the way they are.
Okay. Well, thank you very much on that. We have discussed the National Regional Council. Yeah. We have discussed disarmament, which will now be one of the major topics and concerns for the regional assemblies to be by these children and by government to make it the rehabilitation center for the region.
It is not only there, Mr. Chakai. Yes. It is not only there. We have the duty as the mediator to get to the dungeons where those guys are. It is a responsibility we must meet up with. We need to talk to them. We need to put some sense in them.
Yes.
And to do this, it entails a lot of means. All the divisional parliamentarians who constitute the Regional Assembly of Northwest and Southwest have a wonderful assignment. If the region cannot worked that hard to bring peace to this nation. And then we wouldn't have met up with the objectives of the creation of the regional.
Okay, thank you very much.
And as such, I am now using this opportunity because our status is yet to be defined, that the authority should know that the regional parliamentarians need a handsome budget. A handsome budget.
Well, from my humble understanding, it is the regional councils who will determine what is their budget and vote for it. It is not the state imposing it on you. So we'll just hope you kick off well, and then you'll come and tell us the little budget that you have been given, what has been earmarked for the year 2021.
There's nothing we are going to hide.
No, yes.
Anytime you call me, I must open
before 20th of May, we'll be having you on a special program of these two issues, so that we can want to thank you for that. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving closely to the end of today's program. We'll be looking at Fecafoot, but just briefly, just to look at the development events in Fecafoot. We have two ruling executive councils. One is interim, the other one is put in place by the General Assembly. So what's your take on that? There is cacophony, and Cameroon cannot do anything yet, because it will appear that there's another letter from a federal court in Switzerland who said the current Fecafoot president, who was suspended, could not have the professional football league suspended, headed by General Semenge. So what's your take on it? What's the way forward?
My take on it is that as President Paul Biya called on both camps to solve their problems, the Court of Arbitration for Sports in Switzerland has pronounced a judgment that the body, the Fecafoot good by Mbombo-Njoya, is not eligible because due to when there was elections, there were some malpractices. So that decision came out from the Court of Arbitration of Sports. That was in January, and he counter-attacked that decision to the Federal Court of Swiss, and the Court of Swiss gave all the quotas to the Professional League of Football to organize championships. But still yet, things have not been stable. We saw Professor Abembida creating a provisionary committee, giving 3 months for him to put orders into the Cameroon football wahala. But people have not been okay with this decision, mostly people from the Mbombo-Njoya camp, because people with Abembida, you have Abdurrahman, and I just read what Pierre Batamak wrote, that they should support this guy, General Pierre Semenge, to organize the championship, because the Cameroon championship has not been ongoing. The way forward for this is that I'm calling on all my brothers and sisters who are involved in Cameroon football. If they really love football in Cameroon, they should respect the orders from the decision from CAS, which is the highest body when it comes to litigations concerning football. Because if not, those who are going to be stubborn might be suspended from football activities for years or for life. So they should take this very seriously. Everybody should know what he or she has to do in order that they should not be suspended, or the Cameroonian football should go forward, and that should be having victories as Cameroon had been having. It is really aching that we organize an under-20 championship here in Cameroon, unable to win that championship because of all this type of destruction, all this type of disturbances. And I'm calling on sides involved causing destruction or causing problems in the Cameroon Football Federation and Professional League should be humane and follow the law which has been read.
Honorable?
I'm not really deep into this football competition. Well, since it's a way of life and it is another factor that brings Cameroonians together. When football is concerned, you don't joke with a Cameroonian. I think these guys are toiling with the emotions of Cameroonians. They have their inner squabbles, they are fighting there. I said it some time ago that from the day Iya Mohammed was removed as the president of Fecafoot, Fecafoot has continued to have problems. The problems keep coming on. Every time a new team is put in place, there is an issue to solve. Every time a new bureau is put in place, there is an issue to solve. That tells you that the network that was already implanted in Fecafoot was a dangerous one. If I were the president of the Republic of Cameroon, I would dissolve it completely. I would dissolve it because this problem will keep coming on and on and on. And apparently these people do not seem to see the damage they are causing to this country. Cameroonians are football lovers.
Honorable, they don't care about the council because if they care about Cameroonians, they'll do it. The point is, CONAC, all the anti-corruption organs in Cameroon must be set to work on Fecafoot from now henceforth because there's so much corruption, there's so much free money around. The government sponsors competitions and pays bonuses to the players. When CAF or FIFA gives money, it goes straight to the Fecafoot account. And Fecafoot does not send that money to government treasury to replace what the state advanced.
Can you see?
So the point is, it is not for the head of state to say, I stand and dissolve. We're organizing the Nations Cup in 10 months.
I'm telling you.
Yes, so things will work out. And you can be sure of one thing. Now that CAS has written to Mbombo Joya's Executive Council
yes,
to reply in writing what Seydou Bomboja is still doing in that office, signing documents.
good.
Whereas there is a court order suspending his elections that he does no longer exist in the Fecafoot state. He should explain what he's doing in that office. Secondly, that same letter was sent to the president of FIFA to explain the cacophony in the Fecafoot office in Yaoundé.
Good.
Yes.
Bombonjola is there. Somebody from the Associative General Assembly, that is 2/3 majority, approve Senator Mbida. And then they come now and go to the Professional League office and start to work. Then a few police officers come there and begin to interrupt them, interrupting a senator. Interrupting a senator who is in neutral ground and which is Ligue Professionnelle de Football Camerounais, authorized by TAS to function. So you see from these actions that people did, now they have been given 10 days by TAS to reply. So we are waiting on the 26th before we will come.
Like I was saying, I don't know.
No, we have informed you. We have informed you. You don't need to know.
Yeah,
we are waiting. We are waiting for the reply.
We cannot be going for a nation cup to have this kind of embarrassment.
No, don't worry.
It's terrible.
We are waiting for the responses from FIFA and Joya's Fecafoot on the 26th. Before the 26th, they're giving them 10 days to reply.
In fact, they should audit them, They should audit them.
No, look, these people are not in a haste. When the law is not in their haste. How did Iya Mohammed find himself in prison?
Good.
How many years today?
Good.
Is it not 11?
Of course.
Is it not 11 years? Has he been called into the courtroom?
Not yet.
Yes, but these people are out there with monies they kept aside to be tormenting this. Well, anyway, I will leave it for TAS. TAS will give us final decision and we'll have a headway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at other round. We'll make a round of other current events. The director of taxation, Mopa Fortune, was in Douala to meet with businessmen and everything. These are very interesting things that came out of that meeting in Douala. He made special announcements on tax exonerations, especially after this COVID disorder. All new businesses are suspended from paying taxes for this year. Hotels that did not function and other touristic sites, no tax to pay. These travel agencies, they have reduced their taxes from 30% to 28% for agriculture. Anybody importing agricultural equipment or fertilizers will be exempted from taxes. All new businesses have exoneration with immediate effect. So if anybody is creating a business now after the COVID in the Northwest and Southwest and needs to do real industrial chicken rearing, you want to talk of industrial, 50,000.
I want to drop my brother, I want to just throw light on what the Director of Taxation has been doing. You know, since he has been there, he's a young, dynamic man who has brought in billions in his reign and is doing something great. You know, he's a humane somebody. I don't know him personally, but due to his works, I've admired that young man. I can say young man because you have almost the same age ranges. It's good because, you know, COVID-19 brought many businesses down. For example, you saw many people who laid off workers and businesses, some were closed or partly opened. You were talking about the northern south region, that if anybody goes there to do businesses, they are exonerated. I want to remind you that in the northern and southern regions, this has always been implemented due to the Anglophone crisis because things were not going on properly there. So taxes were almost not paid in those two regions. And I'm happy the government has extended it to the other regions because of the health crisis, which is COVID-19. And I'm happy that the government has done it during this moment to give a booster to business people to carry out their businesses, because in January, Cameroon will be hosting the African Cup of Nations, and those monies will be reserved to employ people and do better things, renovate their structures. Okay, thank you,
Okay, we want to extend special greetings, of course, and we stay in prayers with the Monkam family in Douala. We call for the speedy recovery of Papa Pascal Monkam, who was evacuated to South Africa last Wednesday for urgent and appropriate treatment, in South Africa. We wish him a speedy recovery so that he can join us again in Cameroon. And then we also say goodbye to a great sportsman, Carlos, who walked from Douala to Yaoundé and launched the Sports for All Federation. So people go out on Saturdays, they have their own federation. That's their own federation, like the Football Federation, walking to improve the health. Carlos finally bowed out of the sporting world and will be buried in the South region tomorrow, Saturday. May he rest in peace, and our condolences go to his family. And of course, there's more money coming into the Olympic Stadium. 55 billion francs has been negotiated for by the Minister of Economy and Management of the Territory. They needed 17 billion, but Standard Chartered Bank London has put 55 billion at the disposal of our country. So we'll be looking on these things in the future to find out what is going to happen. And it's not just the Olympic Stadium, but it is the whole complex. The Olympic Professional Swimming Pool, the 4-star hotel, and 4 training stadiums. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being with us this Friday evening. And we say thanks to our production crew led by Jean-Marc Benigren. We also say hi to the Director of Information, Albertine Bichakra, and then the General Manager, Mr. Enes Obama, and of course our Board Chairman, Mr. Luke Owona. I want to say thank you all for giving us this magnificent studio towards being nice debates to you, the people. Thank you. Have a nice weekend, and God willing, see you on Friday next week.
Vous souhaitez vous perfectionner en administration publique et des collectivités territoriales décentralisées? La National School of Local Administration de Boya lance un appel à candidature pour la formation des professionnels dans le domaine du développement local. Date limite de dépôt de dossier, 17 mars 2021. Débute la formation le 28 avril. 6 mois de formation dans des campus futuristes et sur la plateforme e-learning. Venez à la NASLA et devenez un expert en décentralisation.
Il gagne avec un isbet. Et vous? Il gagne avec un isbet. Et vous?